Hello and welcome. I'm Geeta Mohan and you're watching India Today Global. Big news at the top of this hour. Israel has carried out a strike on senior Hamas leaders in Qatar's capital, Doha. That's the big news that's coming in at this point in time. A Hamas official says its negotiating team was targeted in the attack. Qatar's foreign ministry says the attack is a blatant violation of international law, adding it will not tolerate this reckless Israeli behavior and the continuous tampering with the security of the region. The IDF says it conducted a precise strike and those targeted are directly responsible for the brutal October 7th attack or massacre. A White House official tells that Trump's administration was notified about the plans. The Hamas negotiating team is based in Doha. They have not been involved in any indirect negotiations with Israel since July. And the Israeli Prime Minister has come out and said that America didn't know about the operation at all. Meanwhile, UN Chief Antonio Guterres has condemned the strike, calling Israel's flagrant violation of Qatar's sovereignty.
We are just learning about the Israeli attacks in Qatar, a country that has been playing a very positive role to achieve a ceasefire and release of all hostages. I condemn this flagrant violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Qatar.
And now with some breaking news that's coming in at the top of this hour, we have news that's coming in on the Nepal situation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs a cabinet committee on security on Nepal. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, on a post in his X account, has said, on my return from Himachal Pradesh and Punjab today, a meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security discussed the developments in Nepal. The violence in Nepal is heartrending. I'm anguished that many young people have lost their lives. The stability, peace and prosperity of Nepal are of utmost importance to us. I humbly appeal to all my brothers and sisters in Nepal to support peace. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is making a direct appeal to the people of Nepal to bring in peace and calm in the country. At this point in time, the student protests, the youth protests, the Gen Z protests have gone violent. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the Cabinet Committee on Security, that's the CCS meeting that took place today, discussed the situation in Nepal. That's the big news that's coming in at this point in time. Nepal is indeed in flames, from parliament to the Prime Minister's office. Even private homes of top leaders, symbols of power, have been set ablaze. The Gen Z revolt has forced Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to resign, with the Nepal army now stepping into the spotlight, appealing for peace. But as ministers flee in choppers and curfew grips Kathmandu Valley, the big question remains: who takes charge of a nation in free fall?
Nepal in free fall, Kathmandu burning, from the parliament to the Supreme Court, from the president's office at Sheetal Niwas to political party offices and private homes of political leaders. Protesters have torched symbols of power. Even former Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba and Baburam Bhattarai were not spared. The Gen Z uprising has toppled the KP Sharma Oli government in Nepal. The trigger, rampant corruption and a controversial social media ban. Though the Oli government rolled back its ban, Gen Z had already taken charge of the streets, demanding accountability and action against corruption.
They are the murderers of our nation. They killed our 14 years children on gunshot in head, and this is very brutal.
पुलिस आके खुद से आके तो बंदूक के नाल से यहाँ मार दिया। बहुत भ्रष्टाचार है। हमारा युवा से रोजगार नहीं मिल रहा है।
The Nepal army has now been forced into the spotlight. KP Sharma Oli resigned as Nepal's Prime Minister after Army Chief General Ashok Raj reportedly told him to step down in national interest. Sources say Oli pleaded with the army for help to flee Nepal. Dubai, now his likely destination. Ministers are being heli-lifted from their homes and army choppers as curfew has been clamped across Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur.
Since morning we have seen after the airport got shut down, the choppers are being used, army choppers are being used to take the political class out of the country, and the protesters from the Gen Z community are wanting to have complete dissolving of the parliament.
Protesters call Oli's exit People's Victory, the third violent power shift in India's neighborhood after Mahinda Rajapakse in Sri Lanka in 2022 and Sheikh Hasina in Bangladesh in 2024. With the political class discredited, all eyes now are on the Nepal army. The military leadership insists it stands with the people of Nepal, issuing a rare joint appeal with the police and civil administration to restore calm as quickly as possible. The youth, though, are wary and have appealed to Kathmandu Mayor Balendra Shah to take over as the interim Prime Minister of Nepal.
Prime Minister has resigned, but that is not enough. The youth over here, they won't be satisfied just by the resignation of Prime Minister. We need Prime Minister to be in front of the people and be sorry for all the killings that he has done yesterday.
अब हम ये पार्टी का नेता नहीं मानते हैं, हमारा जिंदगी से प्रधानमंत्री हमें चाहिए और राष्ट्रपति हमारा उसी से चाहिए और जोन मंत्री हमारा जिंदगी भाई लोग हमारा देश निर्माण करेगा, हमारा देश फिर ही उठेगा.
Tonight, the Oli era is over. What comes next to Nepal? An interim civilian government or an army-backed dispensation remains the big question. With Pankaj Das, Rohit Singh and Amit Bharadwaj in Nepal. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, that's a live situation continuing in Nepal. Joining me to discuss this and more is Preeta Pokhral. She is a protester. Joining me from Kathmandu. Also joining me is Gopal Jha, senior journalist and member of the Nepali Congress. He also joins me from Kathmandu. Preeta, if I could come to you. The Prime Minister has resigned. Is that victory enough, or are we going to see more of the situation that we are seeing unfold in Kathmandu, in Nepal, of buildings being destroyed and leaders being taken to task by the people?
Yes, now that we know that there is an army regiment going on and the army has stepped up and they have initiated a platform so that the representatives from the protest side can come and talk together. So there is a little bit of consolation because things were really violent and the whole city was, blazing with fire. So right now, at least we've got some kind of notice from the defense that, okay, the army has stepped up. Still, a lot of things are uncertain on this side, and we don't know what the next leadership is going to be like. We don't know which leaders are going to address the nation. So yeah, just hoping for the best right now.
Preeta, I'll come to you about the protest itself, but before that, if I could just go to Gopal. Gopal Jha, we're looking at the army now taking over the streets of Kathmandu, but what's the way ahead from here on? Will we see an interim administration? Will the army take care till elections are held? How do you see things unfold from here on? Because this is a situation that is unprecedented in Nepal's history.
Thank you very much, Geeta. But I'm glad that the army has a step up, and it has army chief has also appealed to the JNG, protesters also to calm down and come to the dialogue also, which is I think one of the latest development from in the country presently. And I think as the Prime Minister Oli has already quit, so I think this should be uh, the as you said, like this should be called as a victory of Generation G, which they really wanted the first thing that to happen. So I believe that the resignation of Prime Minister should work, and as the Army Chief has appealed, I mean, the protesters to come to the table talk, and I'm sure like the solution would be a thing in a day or two.
Right, Preeta, look at the visuals, if you can, on the screens. It's not just violence. We're looking at massive institutions and structures having been destroyed. How do you see the violence that unfolded even after Prime Minister Oli resigned? We do know that there's a lot of angst amongst the youth in Nepal, but destroying the parliament building, destroying the Supreme Court building, how do you see all of that?
I think the damage to public property, the property that was built by taxpayers' money, uh, is gonna cost a lot for us in terms of our infrastructure. As you know, we already are not self-sufficient as a nation, right? Like we do not have enough fire brigades. There is fire blazing all around the city. We don't have anything for those kind of disaster handle the repercussions of those kind of disasters. So as our country is still a least developing country, right? So we're not self-sufficient to handle
Right.
these kind of damage to public property. At what cost are we going to move forward? So this is very, very sad for the whole country because this is not what the protest was supposed to move forward as. But I feel like personally there was a lot of interference from other kind of political parties or other activists who really politicized the movement and had their own agendas at play, that led to these kind of consequences. Because personally I think Gen Z's, they were helpless yesterday and suddenly today they are suddenly verified. I understand that the death toll yesterday triggered a lot of people, but the way the events have unfolded in Kathmandu is really shocking to all of us here. So yeah, everything seems very nation.
Right. Gopalja, what happens next? We're looking at a few names over here, which include the former member of the Electricity Board. We're looking at Rabi Lamichane. Is Sudan Gorung, who is the who has led the students' protest, a part of that entire mix, and Karki, the Chief Justice. Are these names that are the ones who people would give legitimate authority to? Because it does seem you're part of the Nepali Congress, that the people have rejected the Nepali Congress, the CP and UML. They've rejected all these past leaders who came together to form these so-called coalition governments.
See, I would not agree with your comment. Like the people have rejected Nepali Congress. Like one should not forget the contribution Nepali Congress has made in bringing up. The situation. Republic and Federal Democratic Republic in Nepal, which has opened the arena for the freedom to write and speech to the every generation. So one should praise that part of the contribution of Nepali Congress or any other political parties too. But as the situation has gone worse, like because of the corruption and irregularities in state mechanisms, naturally the anger is manifested the way we have been watching for last 2 days. But one thing is very clear that you have to be you have to find the political situation. Solution of the present situation from within the political. The framework. If you go beyond that I'm sure it will be really difficult for anyone who takes over as interim government to handle the situation, because you cannot ignore the politics of this country, which people have fought since decades.
Right.
And presently, so I, I take in, this plate, your reputed media channel to appeal the Generation G also, like Preetha, like the young in protesters, to think equally. Like you have to find the alternatives from within the systems. Like if you go beyond that, if you see, then you will also be difficult to find out the solution, and the things will not be easy for you to handle. So I would rather like to say that presently the political parties have gone down. It's fine because of their own reason, but if you go to seek a solution beyond the political arena, and I'm sure things would not be as easy as they consider now.
Gopal Jha, we'll have to wait and see how this really pans out for the future of Nepal. For now, the students' protest has got legitimacy with the fact that the government has been toppled. Gopal Jha, Preeta Pokhrel, thank you so much for joining me here on the network. Here's my take now on Statecraft, where we break down what led to the protests in Nepal and where does the call for a return of monarchy stand. You can watch the full episode on India Today Global's YouTube channel and subscribe to it too. For now, here's an excerpt. Nepal is on fire, literally and figuratively. Parliament building burned down, portraits of leaders hurled down staircases, and tens of thousands of young citizens fill Kathmandu's streets, chanting, "Shut down corruption, not social media." What started as a simple digital crackdown has exploded into the biggest political crisis since the monarchy fell. 19 protesters are dead, hundreds injured, and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has been forced to resign as also the President of Nepal. This isn't a minor tantrum by tech-addicted youth. It's a generational revolt against corruption, nepotism, and the suffocating sense that nothing ever changes. Nepal's Gen Z protests have already toppled a prime minister. What might they topple next? How did it all begin? Is the social media ban in Nepal a catalyst or just the trigger? And is there more than meets the eye? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. The spark was digital, but the fire, political. For years, Nepal's youth endured corruption, coalition chaos, and broken promises. The September 4th social media ban was the match. By September 8th, tens of thousands of 13 to 28-year-olds, students, freelancers, small entrepreneurs had flooded Kathmandu and other cities, chanting slogans that blended humor with fury. At the heart of the outrage sat one viral phrase, Nepo kids. Young Nepalis blasted social media with side-by-side photos of ministers and their children enjoying elite schools, cushy jobs, and tropical vacations, while the youth of Nepal are jobless and struggling to make a living. What started as memes became manifestos. Sudhan Gurung, chairperson of the youth collective Hami Nepal, emerged as a visible voice during the September 2025 protests, embodying the simmering frustration of Nepal's younger generation. While the movement itself was largely leaderless and spontaneous, Gurung took the initiative to organize a rally at Kathmandu's Maiti Ghar Mandala, calling on students and young citizens to join peacefully. Netizens are whispering, is this Bangladesh all over again? A reference to how youth-led uprising in Dhaka toppled the government and redrew politics. The parallels are striking. An online trigger, students in the streets, a government underestimating its youth, and a death toll that hardened public opinion. In both cases, corruption and patronage networks became rallying cries. But Nepal adds another twist. Its post-monarchy democratic experiment is still fragile. Could these protests be the crucible in which a truly accountable republic is forged, or the prelude to another era of instability? Censorship, corruption, and callousness toward protest deaths. The Gen Z movement's fury is partly betrayal. The republic they inherited was supposed to be clean. Instead, it feels like the same old dynasty politics wearing democratic clothes. And then there's the Whisper campaign. Is America behind this? After all, most of the banned apps Facebook, WhatsApp, X, YouTube are American? Did Washington's deep state egg on the protests? There's no hard evidence. But in a country historically buffeted by Indian blockades, Chinese loans and Western aid, suspicion comes easy. External players, India, China, even the West, will angle for influence as Nepal recalibrates. Without careful navigation, today's victory could become tomorrow's disillusionment. Nepal's September 2025 uprising is more than a social media story. It's a generational demand for a republic that actually works. From Prithvi Narayan Shah's unification to the Rana autocracy, from the Panchayat to the Maoist insurgency, Nepal has reinvented itself again and again at great cost. The Gen Z protests may be the next reinvention. They have already shown that digital natives can shake a government to its knees. What they have yet to show is whether they can build something better in its place. Will Nepal seize this moment to cleanse its politics, or will it once again watch a revolution fade into the same old routine? Thank you for watching Statecraft. Jason Miller, a political lobbyist whose firm was contracted by India, met US President in action and members of Trump administration at a time when relations between New Delhi and Washington are strained over US tariffs. The India-US bilateral ties have downgraded since Trump announced 50% tariffs on Indian imports, citing New Delhi's continued purchase of Russian oil, accusing it of indirectly funding Moscow's war in Ukraine. New Delhi has described the move as unfair, unjustified and unreasonable. While Miller did not specify the agenda of his recent meetings, he shared photographs on social media, including one alongside Trump. Miller's appearance with Trump, though not explicitly linked to his contract with India, comes against this backdrop of delicate diplomacy and high-stakes negotiations. As US-Pakistan relations draw closer, Islamabad signed a $500 million memorandum of understanding with US-based company US Strategic Metals. As the deal was inked, the US Embassy in Islamabad said excited to see US companies like USSM deepening economic ties with Pakistan. USSM's visit to Islamabad marks an important milestone as they sign an MOU to collaborate on critical minerals production, a forward-looking partnership with great potential for both nations. This comes at a time when India-US relations have strained over tariff rates. India was slapped with additional tariffs, totaling the rate to 50%, the highest in the world. The US administration has been very critical of India in recent times and accused New Delhi of fueling the Russian war machine to kill Ukrainians. India has, however, rejected the allegations and called the tariffs unjustified. The deal is also important on the heels of Pakistan's Field Marshal Asim Munir's visit to the United States of America twice over. On the first occasion, he met US President Donald Trump and was hosted at the White House for lunch. During the second visit to the US, Munir met leadership both in political and military ranks. With that, it's a close on this edition of India Today Global. Stay tuned to the network for more news and updates. Goodbye and take care.